two, one. Hey, it's Wild Josh from Geek-Cetera, and I am back and joined with Chase and Joa. And we just watched WandaVision episode 7, Breaking the Fourth Wall, and we're going to talk about it now. Let's get geeky. So, right off the bat with this one, and the idea of, like, initially at the very beginning when I was seeing, like, all the ties to The Office and Parks and Rec and stuff like that, I was like,
Yep.
okay, I like this. But as the episode went on, I was kind of like, I don't know if I love all this, like, fourth wall breaking. I don't know.
I didn't really like it with Wanda as much. I thought Vision did a good job with it. And then he's like sitting outside the van. He's like, "Why am I even here talking to you guys?" And then just flies away.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
I really liked how I did love that joke. That was hilarious. They kept him waiting at the red light. It's like, you're a superhero.
Yep.
Waiting for a red light.
Yep.
Yeah. And you can move, like, at the speed of sound or something like that, and you're just sitting there hanging out waiting.
Reminds me of The Incredibles. Getting stuck in traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I won. Maybe it was just me. This episode, I felt like, was not as good as the 3 before.
This episode felt like 2 episodes.
Did.
It was longer. Was it longer?
I don't think it was longer.
I think it was a little bit longer, but I think you were kind of dealing a lot heavier into. I think you had like 3 different stories that were going on because you have Wanda and Agatha, you have Wanda and Agatha and the boys, the twins. Then you have Vision and Darcy, and you have Monica outside of the Hex. So you kind of have a bunch that's going on all in this one episode. And I think that's why it felt different than the other episodes we've had.
Yeah.
Because you had to split time between way more. So
I'm not sure if that was a good or bad thing for the episode. It did feel very disconnected. You know, you until like the very end where they brought together Monica and Wanda's stories. It was very not discombobulated, but just disjointed. It didn't feel like a cohesive piece.
Yeah. I wonder if it would have helped breaking these up into like 2 20-minute episodes rather than one 30-minute episode.
Maybe,
I felt like the way they dragged it out this episode too, with the 2 different storylines not really converging, with Vision like finally getting home.
Yeah.
And like he's only on the other side of town. Like we mentioned. And that took way too long for him to get to wherever he was. And
they should have spent more time with him at the circus if they wanted to keep him held up.
I cared more about that storyline of Vision getting home, I guess. I had more, and I was more involved in that storyline and the storyline of Wanda at home needing some alone time and just like talking to the camera awkwardly. I didn't need that as much. But then when it got good, you know, when she finally goes to Agatha's and stuff, it was like the episode was over. And Vision still hadn't gotten home. Like,
okay. My brain is scattered, so I'm going to go off topic here. But back to like the start of the episode. When it first started, I didn't feel like it was The Office. I didn't feel like it was Parks and Rec. I felt like I was watching Ferris Bueller. I felt like we had kind of taken a step back in time because she was laying in bed and she was talking about like, you know, having a me day. And I'm like, this is like so classic Ferris Bueller's Day Off kind of vibes. So I felt like the time like didn't really fit because in Parks and Rec and The Office, you never really start with that monologue. You kind of start by, you know, some kind of cold open,
right?
And then you have the intro, and then you know you sprinkle those
they
in.
Added some Modern Family in there, and I never watched Modern Family.
Yeah, I mean,
so I don't really know.
I think I've seen bits and pieces, but I don't watch it. I don't know who in my family watches. I think it's just like occasionally it's the only thing on TV.
Yeah.
I have seen a little bit of it. It felt more like that. I think that's the style they were going for. especially with the talking to the camera bits. It felt much more like when you think of The Office, it feels a lot. In The Office, it would feel a lot more like handheld camera kind of quality, and in other sitcoms like that, like Modern Family, it's much more professional looking quality. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know what it is.
But
It
that
felt less
intro
genuine.
the intro they did was definitely Office.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. It was like, whoa, that was kind of cool.
It was the Office music. It wasn't very like Office style in terms of like. It was only just like Wanda's name popping up. It wasn't like different clips or anything strung together.
Yeah.
So
I find it very funny if I can talk about that for a second. When we started that intro sequence, normally the entire time for the rest of the show, those intro sequences had Vision in it the entire time. But for this intro, it's just Wanda.
Yeah, until the very end, right? And then
until the very end where they brought Vision in.
Yeah.
So I think that does signify a big change with this episode compared to the other ones, where Vision is being taken out of the picture.
Yeah.
This episode
is being written out.
Yeah, it's meant to focus more on Wanda, and Vision is being cut out of the story.
Yeah.
Until the very end. So I think that's kind of a neat little detail. But
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
My train of thought went off there.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. I noticed that too because I even said something to my wife. I was like, "Hey, there's no Vision," and then like as I was saying it, it was like Vision. I was like, "Oh, okay, there it is."
Experience.
Yeah. The beginning with like at the end of episode 6, I was kind of really excited to see what's going to happen with this carnival that had gotten sucked in and stuff. And then in episode 7 at the beginning, when you see that, it wasn't as cool as I was anticipating it to be.
Yeah, I was telling
that whole.
Sorry, go ahead. No, you finish.
That whole Darcy like not recognizing him, and then like that awkwardness, like just touch her head and get back to real Darcy. Like, why are we even doing this?
I was telling Ezra the other day when I was playing games with him, I was so mad at myself because on the podcast I had the opportunity to talk about what I was thinking, and I'm like, it was such a small detail I didn't figure to bring it up. I'm just like, oh, Darcy's stuck in handcuffs attached to the truck. She's definitely going to be like the escape artist in the next episode. But I didn't call it out, so I feel like I lose points, but I was so happy when I was right. I just don't have the proof. I was like, no.
I was just about to say that. I thought that was so clever what they did there. Like, how they turned her into an escape artist to explain away how she gets out. Like,
to why she's in handcuffs. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm just mad that I didn't call it out early. But it is what it is.
Yeah. So I'm trying to like think of what really relevant stuff happened. Oh, Monica.
Yep.
And that vehicle thing that she was. So that's She
and do you want to talk about the aerospace engineer?
Yeah, the aerospace engineer, which
turns
was
out
that a letdown for anyone else? You were right. It was a woman.
Yep.
But it was a nobody.
So
like that character was nobody, right? Am I just wrong? Like was she some character
I'm pretty
somewhere?
sure there were nobody, but
I've heard theories that that entire camp might have been like Skrulls, but they didn't know about Jimmy Woo being a safe guy to be around, so that they might still be somewhat relevant. But either way, it still was a bit too much of a build up to have that payoff.
Yeah. There, not much of a payoff at all.
Yeah. But
I'm not disappointed though, because I kind of saw it coming. I know people got their hopes up to see Reed Richards a lot, but I think that'd kind of be a bad way to introduce Reed Richards anyway, in like a spin-off series.
I loved it.
It'd be a cool cameo to be sure, but it's like that's how you're gonna introduce this character to the audience. Is like
I think that helps prove my point that Evan Peters is just a fun cameo.
I think you're right.
Oh, certainly.
I think you're right there. Yeah. Yep. Because I mean, it's not even. It's probably not. Well, I guess it's not even as probably. It's definitely not really even Pietro, right? It's just like Agatha made Pietro, Pietro, however you pronounce
Pietro?
it. Pietro. Yeah. So that was, I guess, okay. You can explain it away that way. It kind of hurts a little bit because I was hoping we were going to get more X-Men, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So really, like all these things I was really excited about, like I wanted X-Men being involved. I wanted to get Reed Richards. It seems like all that's just slipping away, and what we're left with is this was just Agatha all along.
It was Agatha all along.
And I think that this series will end with more like the multiverse thing that everybody's theorizing anyway. I think that's how this is going to end. So I think it's going to be a big event in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe anyway. But I think people wanted it to be bigger earlier on. I think it's just going to end out on a bang.
It's possible, yeah, just to set up Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. It's possible.
Yeah. Which is no, it's not the next movie coming out. Next movie coming out is Shang-Chi, I think.
Oh.
Then Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Oh, really? Spider-Man?
Spider-Man is before Multiverse, yeah.
Sweet. I'm so excited for that.
Which will be interesting, because maybe that will have more build-up to the Multiverse of Madness than this would. If we're looking in terms of the timeline. But this could, if they're using the multiverse here to explain where these other Spider-Men are coming from, if we do get Garfield and Maguire.
So,
and then,
what if they end up being in the cast list, but then just end up being as like cameos, like
that's
Stan
fine.
Lee used to be?
Yeah. Who cares? It's fan service.
The next one is actually going to be Black Widow. We forgot that one.
Oh,
well,
that's true.
is it though?
Well, according to what I'm looking at now, it says that's coming out May 7th.
It was coming out like December 2020,
yeah.
so so is it though?
I'm sad at how far that's been pushed back.
Yeah. According to the current slate, it would be Black Widow. Then it would be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Then it would be Eternals. And then it would be Spider-Man.
Eternals at least has its ability to be not like part of the Avengers and not involved with that multiverse mess. So
yeah, this is an interesting direction that they're taking the MCU. Like what's bigger than Thanos? Well, how about an entire multiverse full of Thanoses, potential Thanoses?
Danai.
Like Danai. I do think this is like I think this is probably not really the next step. I think the next step would have been like Galactus and then the multiverse. But potato.
Yeah.
But I do think that WandaVision is the build up to the next big MCU thing. This is the in-between stage, the intermission, if you will.
This and
I
Falcon.
agreed with you until the last episode. I thought it was going somewhere bigger, and it being Agatha, I don't know that storyline is going to continue into Falcon and Winter Soldier that's coming out next.
I don't think it will.
And I wonder if that will actually really be the one that shows us who the next big villain is, where it's more an action thing.
I don't know, because at least for me, Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of sets itself up as like a good buddy cop type thing, whereas WandaVision has been so deep, where every single episode has left you with more questions than answers. I don't think that Falcon and Winter Soldier will play out that way. So I think that's just good filler material. Like, here, enjoy this while we work on the movies. We know, COVID, you can't get to theaters, so just enjoy this TV show we've made. Whereas WandaVision, I feel like because of their abilities, like Wanda's power has the ability to set up something huge, like Joa said.
Yeah.
Joe, do we know who the villain is for Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Baron Zemo.
Oh, Zemo, he's back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I can't think if he's like, I haven't read all the comics, so I don't know if he's like started any big universe-changing events.
I don't think so. He's just a normal dude.
That could set up something, but the last thing he set up was Civil War, so that's not as. I suppose it is a big event.
If you
but
want to look at butterfly effect, then yeah.
he could have a butterfly effect, but I do agree that's going to be more of a buddy cop
Yeah.
adventure.
I think it'll just be fun. I think it's a good little comedy with action in it. So, but
So a couple things that I picked up on and I had to do a little extra research on, and I want to get your thoughts. I did not watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I think you guys both did.
Loved
I
it.
only made it to like episode 4.
Yep.
Now, when they go into Agatha's basement at the very end of this episode, there's a book.
Mm-hmm.
And there's question as to whether that book could be Darkhold, which was last seen in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
When I first saw it, it very much gave me Darkhold vibes.
It looks very different from how it did in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was a brown book with, iron-looking lettering on the front that literally just said Darkhold on the front. And this, it is very different. So if, Kevin Feige is actually considering Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to not be canon, I don't agree with that decision. I would rather, if this is the Darkhold, just do it as they did it in S.H.I.E.L.D. They'd have to explain how the Darkhold got to where it is now, but I would find that better. I'm hoping this is the Darkhold
to someone who doesn't know what the Darkhold is. Can you explain that in a way that's...
From what I remember in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it could... it basically was like all the secrets of the universe.
Yeah, it's a book of knowledge.
It's a book of knowledge.
But
And
the power
wrote itself in the language of the reader.
Yeah. And the power basically corrupts because it's giving you all of this knowledge, and knowledge is power. And so it had the ability to, basically drive whoever reads it insane.
Yeah, it was kind of like...
for this story, though, in essence, then.
It could, yes. I know in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. it was kind of like a give and take, where it's like, if you want this knowledge, you're going to lose your mind taking it. But you will gain the secrets of the universe, creating matter. That was one of the actual plot lines. You could create matter using information from the Darkhold. So if they do end up going that route and using, if this is the Darkhold, maybe Agatha read the Darkhold and has gone mad with power.
Right.
It could explain where the twins came from, because they don't seem to be... Or Pietro, too, yeah.
Or even where Agatha's powers come from, perhaps?
That's true.
If she'd previously, read the Darkhold?
Yeah. But I was just thinking, in, the way that, the twins aren't anybody. Everybody else is, cast, quote-unquote. They're real people, except for Pietro and the twins are the only ones. But so, if this gives her the ability to create matter, she could create them in order to control Wanda. Because at least very much the way that I see what happened is me being correct, so haha in your face, Ezra, and I can say that because he's probably not watching this. It's Wanda's power. Wanda is not in control. She's being controlled by Agatha, because I don't think Agatha is powerful enough to create this, the Hex, so she had to use Wanda to do it, and she's used the ability to create matter of, Pietro and the twins to kind of control Wanda. It could also explain where that Mind Stone came from. I guess if she had the ability to create a new Mind Stone to reanimate Vision or something. I don't know.
So besides the Darkhold, we also have Monica re-entering the Hex and gaining what appears to be her superpower as Spectrum.
Yeah, what actually is her power? She can just see things? Like,
So
with eyes?
that's a good question. I feel like
I
I looked
imagine
this up
super
before,
strength.
and I forget. So I'm gonna look it
Because,
up
I mean,
now.
she did have that
Again,
nice
and
little
tell you.
superhero landing after getting thrown down by Wanda.
Oh no. Ezra's typing in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
He's near.
I
What does it
gambled and I
say her
lost.
powers are? Durability, energy, energy. She's got energy, power, and speed,
Yeah,
and then she's super durable.
interesting. I like in that clip that it showed us of like things through her vision, it basically just looked like she could see different spectrums of light.
Like, yeah.
So,
I mean, that's her superhero name is Photon, right?
No, it's
Spectrum.
spectrum.
It's Spectrum.
Spectrum.
I've
Ezra's
heard
saying
both,
she
I
deflected
guess.
Wanda's powers.
Photon, I think, was her mom,
Yeah.
Maria Rambo.
Well, I know they gave her that nickname in the
Oh,
Maria Photon Rambeau, but I thought that Monica took that mantle. I think she becomes both at some point. Like she's one for a while and then changes her name to something else or something. I don't know how to. I don't think I ever read the comics, so
yeah. But it
I
seems
am.
like that
Sorry.
she kind of at the end here gets controlled by Agatha. Is that the feeling you guys got when her eyes went from that? It's kind of funny because you got these different colors that I think mean something. Obviously, Scarlet Witch has been Scarlet or Red the whole time. Her powers, and then we get Agatha, who's got this like dark purple, and then Monica has now this like light blue, like teal almost. So her eyes go from that teal color to like the purple color at the end when Quicksilver touches her, zaps her, whatever he does.
So, Aaliyah texted me, and her theory was that, the like Agatha's rabbit, the bunny, is Pietro, and kind of like I don't know, like transforms or whatever.
Oh,
So he's kind of like the pet.
What was his name, Mister something?
I don't remember.
Oh, he has a name too.
Let me see. I don't even know if I'd be able to find it because whenever Aaliyah like either watches this or just like the episode comes out, it's like a spam of about 9,000 texts, and it's hilarious to read. But it might have also been in a different chat.
Senior Scratchy.
Yeah. All she says is, "What if Evan Peters is the bunny, Agatha's son/rabbit?" So.
Senior Scratchy is Quicksilver.
Yeah. I think I did see a video that she actually did have like Agatha Harkness did actually have a son whose name I forget the name, but I remember like Scratch something had something to do with it. I don't remember at all.
Aaliyah is a lot more observant than me, so I wouldn't be surprised if this theory ends up being correct.
Do you think it's the actual Pietro or just?
No, I think that
she's turning the bunny
like
into
the rabbit is her son and has the ability to, you know, like transform or look like other beings, and so he's acting like Quicksilver, which could then explain why he has super speed if he has like Agatha's powers, or if Agatha could use powers to give him the illusion of Quicksilver's speed. I don't know.
My like final thought here is like about the ending scene. What if the Pietro stand-in what if he's actually not under Agatha's control in the ending scene from the last episode? What if he just thinks that Monica is just being a snoop? What if he's just being a concerned neighbor?
You're saying Pietro is a concerned neighbor, even though he's most likely being used by Agatha?
Let's say he's not. And my theory is he might not be in the end scene. He's just being snarky when he says Snooper's got a snoop.
But then why would Monica's eyes, or why would there be purple?
I didn't see the purple.
Wasn't that what
I did
Josh
not
was
see the
saying?
purple.
Yes, they do turn purple. I'm actually looking at a still shot right now of a
And-
recap, and they turn purple after he touches it.
And I think
Did not
it
see
would
that.
make sense if he is working through Agatha, or Agatha created her.
Okay.
Another weird thing is that the glow around the book was like almost a reddish, but could also almost be like an orange.
I thought it was orange.
Which
It
makes me
looked
wonder: is there
gold to me.
a whole other thing now that's got orange? Is it Mephisto? Is orange? Or,
Ezra
you
says
know,
that
like-
he's gonna help Monica.
That's what I was trying to say, is that Pietro was going to try to help Monica.
I don't
But-
see it.
Oh. I
I
kind
don't
of
know.
got the feeling at the end that he was with Agatha.
Well,
or
that's
Agatha
what I
was
thought, too.
controlling him, or Agatha made him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That hear me out here. That might just be what the show is trying to make you think.
Hmm.
Because
The-
they,
the
they
eyes
do like the
turning
twists in the show.
Purple though. The eyes turning purple after he.
That's a detail I
Touches.
missed.
Yeah.
I will have to rewatch that scene to see, but I will
I
figure that out.
I have to feel like the solution to this entire thing, like where this series is going, is that Vision is the solution. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know entirely how,
I
but
agree.
he's had the ability to kind of like lift the hex on people. Like, he can get through this, like, the curse or the
You can get through
control.
the mind control, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be, because he is an AI, I don't think he'd be able to be controlled by Wanda's powers or Agatha's powers. And I think ultimately this ends up with Vision sacrificing himself again.
I just put a picture in the Discord of after she's touched.
Ezra should check that out then, because he's saying...
Discord?
And this
No, they
is
definitely
her-
turn purple. I don't think Joe can see that chat you put them in, though.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
But yeah, they definitely... I wish I could get this up on stream, but they definitely turn purple.
Okay.
100%
Details I
can
missed.
100% can confirm.
Yeah.
And before, they are a very vibrant blue.
hmm
So,
Yeah.
But-
So I guess we'll have to find out. And there's only 2 more episodes. They have to start answering more things. I did think we got a lot of answers in this one, but there's still some stuff we need some
I
answers
think
for.
this was the first episode where we ended with like more answers than questions, which is a nice change.
hmm
I mean, it's been Agatha all along.
It's
It's just the answer to
been
everything in the show
Agatha.
so far.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's true. I even killed Sparky.
It took my ending quote.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Find a new one.
Uh,
Oh boy. So, anyways, I think that's all I have to say. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add.
I'm actually shocked that we talked about this episode for the least amount of time. Like
I know.
out of all of them, because
it's because it gave us more answers than
Yeah,
questions. We don't
I
have
think
any
so.
questions.
We don't have
to-
as
And the
much
answer
to
was
theorize.
it's been Agatha all along. Well, and we found out that Quicksilver is basically a nobody, and so isn't the aerospace engineer.
Yep.
So like those two kind of just like, all right, there's your answer, and then
Yeah.
it's been Agatha all along.
It'll be interesting. I'm just excited. I feel like the Vision and Darcy story arc has so much potential for the next episode that's really what I'm looking forward to.
Mm.
So, I'm less concerned about Agatha and Wanda and whatever goes on there, because I think that scenario is just like furthering the problem, whereas Vision and Darcy are definitely the solution.
Here for Ezra. Here's the actual scene.
Oh, Josh
All
just
right.
posted a link.
To the
100%.
because he says
I can
that
confirm her eyes are
his
very
eyes aren't
purple. Those are purple.
But yeah,
Need to zoom in more.
Because it's really different from the blue that they are in the other scene. I can send you the original image, Joa.
Looks, yeah. I see it. I see it.
It's not the same blue at all.
What if her eyes are tuned to a different spectrum in that scene? I mean,
It's possible, but it's just really weird that they choose, like, every other time she's used her powers, it's been that same blue, and then purple seems to be Agatha's color, and that's what shows up in that scene. So
Ezra really wants to join.
Go ahead, Ezra. Let's hold on. Yeah. Put up transition screen. All right, join the call, Ezra. Join us.
join us.
Waiting on you to join.
I thought you didn't have a way to join. Isn't that why?
Okay. He's just. Hold on, wait. Just give me half of a second. All right, you just gotta be a random box.
Okay.
You're good.
All right.
Welcome
so,
home.
basically, this is how I see it, right? Her eyes were purple before Pietro even showed up. So if your theory, no, stop for a second.
What?
Okay, I'm listening to multiple things at the same time. Give me a second. I'm confused. Okay, her eyes turn purple before Pietro even shows up. If you look, before he's even there, her eyes are glowing purple. Look at the clip again.
I mean,
Yeah, let's.
So if your theory, first of all, if you're saying, because you did say this, that Pietro touched her and her eyes became purple, I don't think that's true. So I'm trying to give me a second. I'm looking. Also, we've seen her use her powers.
Her eyes are blue when he's behind, or only purple when he's behind her.
We've seen her use her powers all of but 2 times, Chase. So if you're saying that her eyes cannot change colors, I don't think you have a big enough sample size to justify that point.
I'm just saying that
her eyes turn purple.
We see her use it twice, but she uses. Why would it be the same color the same 2 times? If they want to make that a differentiation, why not make her eyes red in one scene or green? And
I still think your sample size is a little too small. This is the reasoning why I think her eyes are purple, right? We obviously know that she has her powers have something to do with her eyesight, right? She sees weird things and what look to be like electromagnetic waves, right? So what if she's seeing some sort of different type of energy coming off of these purple vines in the basement, and that's why her eyes turn purple? I'm not convinced. I think that is what Joa suggested. So the other thing too is Pietro obviously is breaking the mold here, and what's seemingly to be purposely going against what Agnes wants. So I don't really think that he's 100% in her control, like you say he is. And I honestly think that
against what she wants
by pissing off Wanda.
Oh, I just realized I'm not visible.
Isn't that what Monica did in this episode? And then Agnes stepped in and stopped it. Right? I mean, basically, he basically did what Monica was trying to do, trying to get her to reason with herself and say, listen, this is not a right thing that you're doing. You should stop this. I do not think that Pietro is working for Agnes or is in her control.
Then I guess I still come back to where does she come from?
Where does Pietro come from?
Yeah, where does he come from?
Multiverse.
So
he
was shown in the ending of the last episode during the whole Agatha all along segment that he was under her control then. I'm not debating that. I'm debating if he was under control at the moment of the end scene, where
Well,
he
he
sneaks
definitely
up on
wasn't.
Monica.
So this is why I say he's not 100% under her control, right? Because he definitely was not in her control when he was arguing, or he had the little spat with his sister, right? I mean, like that definitely was against Agnes's against her plan, right? I mean, to me, that's kind of that's evidence right there that
But if she's
he's
trying to
not
break
know
down-
100%
about that
doing what he's
because
supposed
when
to do.
She asked what the reason that he was there. Doesn't he say like stir up trouble and do all these things? He basically says all the reasons that he's there is to basically cause havoc in her life, and then he follows through with all those things. Which
How would that further Agatha's goal?
I don't know what Agatha's goal is. Do you? Because if you do, that means you know what the next 2 episodes are, and we don't know that.
No, I'm sticking with my original theory. I think Agatha is profiteering off of the situation. Maybe she came up. Maybe she forced Wanda to do all of these things. But I think that Wanda is still in control to a degree, or causing the events with her powers. And I'll tell you why. So Chase brought this up in a previous episode. When Wanda is manipulating things, what color is associated with that?
Red.
Now, what color is the hex?
Red.
It turned red when she went out.
There you go. That's your answer.
But from the other side, it's blue. And what happens when you mix the colors red and blue, Ezra?
What do you mean from the other side?
From the inside.
From the inside out, it's blue.
It's colorless.
From the inside, it's blue.
It's
definitely has a blue tint. It definitely has a blue tint.
Okay. I shouldn't have even joined. I'm not going to convince anyone, but I'm going to call it right now. This is still Wanda's doing it. I feel like Agnes is probably causing Wanda to do it. Sure, but I still think that Wanda was the one who brought Quicksilver into this universe, and I still think that I don't agree that whatever the Darkhold or whatever created a new Mind Stone. I still think that Wanda's powers are the thing that's keeping Vision alive. And I, at this point, am almost subscribed to the theory that the kids are from an alternate universe as well. So that's where I stand on this. I just I don't know. The only reason I even said anything was because I really thought there were holes in your reasonings. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think that what Pietro is doing makes sense.
I don't think that Wanda created Pietro or brought Pietro because of that scene where they were fighting and Pietro comes to the door, and she's very adamant to Vision that it wasn't her. And then she's like, "You don't believe me, do you? You don't believe me." And she's like hurt by the fact that Vision doesn't believe her, that it wasn't her. So I don't think it was her. I think that it would have played that scene out differently if it really was her.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see then.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess there are more questions that we thought.
I really feel like, well, and this is, I mean, that's the other reason why I came on, because this episode is very short, and I figured maybe my opinion would be valued, but that's okay.
It's not that we don't value it; it's just we don't agree.
That's fine.
I think it's good to have the extra ideas on here, though.
No, that's why I came on.
Yeah.
That's exactly why.
Yep.
I mean, I just, again, to me, I'm going to restate what one of the first things that I said, when Quicksilver was talking to Wanda in the Halloween episode. I feel like he was trying to tell her to take it down. Just like how Monica is trying to tell her to take it down. Because the reasoning, he was talking about ethics and how ethical it was to have all these children here. I don't if Agnes was controlling him, he would not be bringing these questions to Wanda's attention.
That's a really good point. I agree with like him not being under Agatha's control for that. But I don't think he was really convincing her to take it down, was he? Because he said you did a good job with the ethics
Yeah, he
on
was
this.
He was.
impressed by what
I
she
think
was
he
doing.
was I think he was getting there. There's I feel like he needs to handle that situation tactfully.
But then he wasn't tactful about Vision. Your dead husband can't die twice. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Pietro. Tact is not really Pietro.
yeah, from like everything when they were like calling him a man-child and all that, like everything he did, he's very blunt. So I don't know that he's necessarily trying to convince her to take it
I
down.
just don't know.
But
I don't know what purpose that conversation would serve if not to convince her to take it down.
I don't have a rebuttal because it is a good point of like he's helping her kind of realize that everything isn't real, but
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean,
think we're not gonna agree per se.
no, I don't think we
everything,
will either. But I just
now
wanted
that
to
you're
bring
here,
these
Ezra,
things.
I
yeah.
want to ask you about the commercial or the ad for this week, which was the medication Nexus, because this ties kind of into with what you feel about multi-dimensions and stuff like that. Do you guys know what I didn't really know this until I looked it up, and people smarter than me were able to put the pieces together as to what Nexus is.
Yeah.
Any of you guys know?
No.
It's I don't know if I watched the same video as you, but the video I watched explained it as basically it's like a fixed point in the multiverse where in no matter what multiverse it is, she's the same.
Yeah, kind of. So it has two things. In the MCU, the Nexus was mentioned in Age of Ultron when Tony Stark hacks into the Nexus, which is like an internet hub, and he discovers that Jarvis's AI that would eventually become Vision and artificial consciousness and all that stuff. But in the comic books, the Nexus is listed as a cross-dimensional gateway that provides a pathway to various realities, linking it to an antidepressant fits with Wanda's attempt to create her own reality and escape her trauma. So it could have to do with, it's just kind of an interesting nod that we're kind of feeling like it might fit in with multiverse kind of stuff, various, different realities. And then they have that commercial kind of maybe backing that up a little bit if we go along the comic book idea, not necessarily the MCU use of it in Age of Ultron.
I'm very curious as if this is like just a subtle nod to the comics or a reference, or if this is actually like deeper than that. Because it could be as simple as a cameo, that reference.
So,
right, yeah.
I have another question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Why was there a commercial this episode? Why was this episode? Because we know that the show is no longer broadcasting.
That is true.
Why do we know that?
Because they said it.
Well, it's no longer. Yeah, okay.
She did.
No, that's
they
true.
did say, who said it? Was it Monica said that it was no longer broadcasting?
I think when she got to that other camp, right?
Other camp?
Oh no, was it?
Yeah.
Was
no,
it? I thought it was Sword. I thought it was the
Yeah.
Sword people.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the
When
Sword director.
the director was trying to like get a visual on it. His like assistant said it's no longer broadcasting.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Because I was thinking most of the people who are watching the broadcast are now in.
So,
but no, it's just Darcy.
We've asked before who is the broadcast for, which now I think we have to limit it to just Wanda. Because if it's not being broadcast, why were we still watching this episode as a sitcom?
It's like recording something but never posting it. It's
Yeah.
like making a family video.
If we weren't live streaming this and this conversation was just for us, that's the target audience. So, you could say that, every week we come on and do this and our target audience is everybody, but it's really not because we're all going to sit here and talk about WandaVision anyway. Ezra and I have talked about this episode, 2 or 3 times just over video game calls already? Like, the target audience is really just us. So I think I'm sold. I think it was Ezra who said it. I think the broadcast is just for Wanda.
I agree with that. I agree with that theory where it's this is Wanda's reality. It's her way of coping with her loss.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that her making the sitcom world is basically her way of saying, I want a sitcom life, I want, quick problems that are solved by the end of the episode. Like that's essentially as perfect a life as you can really get, like episode 1 of WandaVision. It's like, what's this date? Oh, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's our anniversary. Do you know? No. Oh, wait, it's our dinner with the bosses. Okay, figure that out. Story resolved. It's like that problem is very short-sighted, and the entire rest of the series, it's been the same thing. Like most of the story episode problems are just minor everyday life things, and that's what Wanda wanted, is a normal life.
I think honestly too that the depression medication commercial really is proof that on some level this is Wanda's doing, right? Because that's your choice if you want to take medication to help your problems, right? I think, and seeing as all of these commercials and call outs are references to Wanda's like traumatic past experiences or present experiences I think ultimately she's the one who's taking these pills, and it's to help her cope, right? I mean, I feel like the choice is hers to do all this stuff, and that's ultimately why I think that she's making the hex, whether or not I mean, it's called the hex, which in the comics was what they called her powers. I don't know that we really even need more evidence than that. I think that she is in control, or at least her powers are in control of what's going on. Now, whether or not Agatha is mind controlling her to use the powers, I mean, I think that's entirely possible. But
I don't think it's mind control so much as manipulation. I
Yeah.
agree with Ezra's
No,
theory that
so
Agatha is profiteering off of it.
no,
She's
I agree with
benefiting
that. I agree with that as well. I mean, I don't necessarily know that she's directly mind controlling her per
Well,
se, but that's the word I did choose.
I guess my question becomes, do we even know what Agatha's powers really are?
Not really.
So,
Not yet.
yeah, we don't. It could still be mind control. Because, like, why else would their eyes light up purple when they're. Because, like, Wanda's
Yeah.
eyes lit up purple. And she kind of seems to, like, lose all of her, like, fight or
So
inhibition. I don't know.
talk about that for a second. Do you remember what she looked like when her eyes lit up purple?
Blank.
A blank expression, right?
Yeah.
Like completely emotionless.
Mm-hmm.
Like the second before, even by contrast, she was kind of like shocked by what
She
was
was,
going
like,
on,
confused, yeah.
right? And after that, she just completely goes blank and emotionless. Now, in contrast, what did Monica's face look like?
Nope, I will give you that. And I rewatched that scene, and you were 100% right that it was once she opened the bunker, or like the bulkhead, that's when her eyes were purple. It was before Pietro even walked up to her. So
with this show, there's a lot of things, right, going on, and they're very good at misdirecting us. And I really think that's what's going on here. I think that's why her eyes were purple instead of blue, is because honestly, they're very close in color. That detail is very small and could be explained away later, and it's misdirecting. I honestly feel like that's what's going on here. Like, I don't think that Quicksilver touching her would be enough for Agnes to necessarily mind control her, or even I don't think that's what was going on.
What if it's just the opposite, where Quicksilver or Pietro touching Monica was like what snapped her out?
you're saying he has like vision level powers of snapping you out of that? I don't.
Just distracted her from mind control or whatever trance she was in.
I don't think she was in a trance, though. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But so that's where I'm at with this. I didn't even notice her eyes being purple the first time I watched it.
I thought they were still just blue until Josh posted that picture.
Yeah, and yeah, so I can't dispute that they're purple, but like, I'm not really convinced that they're purple because of Agnes's powers. So
what I find interesting is that you still call her Agnes, even though we know it was Agatha all along.
All along.
I can't stop myself. Like you heard the first time I tried to say Agnes, I just couldn't get it out because anyway, because I'm confused. My brain doesn't know how to work.
I just wanted to mention something before we end this episode, because I think we're wrapping it up soon. The last 2 episodes, although we're going to have a lot of answers as to what's going on with Agatha Harkness' character, as what is potentially the big bad guy, but also the fact that S.W.O.R.D. looks like they're ready to storm the Hex or do something to all-out war on the Hex.
I don't know what they plan to do though, because they've seen by Monica going in that if you enter, you kind of lose your faculties. Even I would think with the Beekeeper man, we never knew. I don't think we got a follow up on what happened to him.
He was the ice cream scooper at the next episode. And that's it. That's all he was.
Okay.
So there was a guy at the very beginning, scooping ice cream, and that's.
So they must know, there's nothing they can do because everything they've sent in, it doesn't work.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see.
I know, are they thinking let's nuke it?
But I definitely feel like S.W.O.R.D. are bad guys. There's no way they're good.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
So.
But that's all. I also sent a little bit of breaking news. I guess it's on the same vein, so we can break it here if you want, but it's probably going to be broken more later. Is that while we were recording, the MCU came out and said that they are going to be introducing characters from Big Hero 6 to the MCU.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sweet. I love Big Hero 6.
I know, it is one of my favorite.
Good movie.
Yeah, Pixar movies.
Should I see myself out, or
no? You're here. You're here till the end now.
You might as well
all right.
To the end, it's
Thanks for letting me guest star, guys.
I'm glad you guest star on your own podcast that you're a co-host of.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm sorry I was so heated, but I
fine.
had things to say.
Came in hot. You came in hot.
I came in hot. I was hearing the things that were being said, and I was like, no, you got it all wrong.
Heated podcasters are really fun to listen to. So
I do think it would have been funnier if you just broke into Joe's room, but
right.
Oh, that would have been hilarious.
Hilarious. You could just bust in.
Well, I wouldn't have been able to hear you guys.
Yeah.
The issue with that.
I could change the audio output. I wouldn't mind it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this. So, thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts on episode 7 in the comment section below. Next week at 7, we're going to be doing one for episode 8. Looking forward to it. And yeah, so until next time, can I help you, Creeper?
Side effects may include more depression.
Because the world doesn't revolve around you.
It was Agatha all along.